Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. Our paramedics are tonight on the verge of taking industrial action. They've had enough of the ramping crisis, and it's been revealed today more than 2/3 are on the verge of quitting. So severe, some patients are even taking matters into their own hands.
On Tuesday night, Ryan Holden says he faced a life-threatening emergency, experiencing chest pains with no ambulances available to help.
They said it was ramped in town, and so I got in my car and drove myself to hospital.
Making the trek from Huonville into Hobart, it's a distressing scenario Ryan's faced not once, but twice.
I snapped my Achilles about 12 months ago, and stepping up on uneven ground, and there was no ambulance available then, and I drove myself in. Lucky the car was automatic.
The health department was contacted for comment. Meanwhile, paramedics with the Health and Community Services Union today used a ramping inquiry to threaten industrial action.
We've heard some really appalling stories about paramedics who are so burnt out, so distressed at the situation that they're in, that they're just simply unable to turn up for shifts.
They're growing increasingly frustrated at the failure of the government to provide any solution to what they see as inadequate staffing.
But according to the government, it's a federal issue, with 40% of 000 phone calls deemed non-emergencies.
That comes straight back to a lack of GP services across our state, and that sits with the federal government, which is why we continue to lobby the federal government to ensure that Tasmanians are getting their fair share of GPs.
Obviously the federal health minister provides overarching policies, and there's funding that comes from the federal government. In the end, the state government gets the money, gets the pot of money, and has to spend it.
A reminder to government that actions speak louder than words. Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
An urgently convened task force will examine the state's abattoirs in response to videos alleging animal cruelty. The move has divided opinions though, as a cloud continues to hang over the industry, and a warning the vision in this story is confronting.
Secretly recorded slaughterhouse vision shocked Tasmanians, and days after promising action, the Primary Industries Minister's announcing an urgent task force.
Be under no illusion, this task force is going to be hitting the ground running.
Fired up and eyeing off beefed up regulations, potential improvements and industry culture.
Because measures have been put in place before. We have seen an increase in the penalties, but still we're here. We're here in this position, and it's simply not acceptable.
We welcome the quick response of government, and we're going to be very, very committed to action, not words.
Investigations into the 5 abattoirs involved are continuing, with Biosecurity Tasmania given extra staff.
Unfortunately, everything she's announced is work the government should have already been doing.
The Parliament passed a motion this week supporting mandatory CCTV cameras in abattoirs, which Tas Farmers also wants.
Unless we have regulations to mandate CCTV footage in all abattoirs in Tasmania, she won't fix the problem.
The Farm Transparency Project, which released the videos, says it's all talk, little action, claiming Joe Palmer is quietly attempting to brush this footage under the rug and to protect the interest of animal slaughter industries, finishing with an ominous warning. It still has 4 more Tasmanian slaughterhouses to expose. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
Many Tasmanians have spent the day on clean-up duty after wild storms battered large parts of the state overnight, leaving hundreds without power. A whopping 8,000 ground lightning strikes were recorded, prompting a high fire danger rating today. SES crews were kept busy responding to storm-related incidents across the northern half of the state. Crews in Launceston had an early wake-up call after a tree fell at City Park, damaging a section of the fence and blocking the road for several hours. A Hobart live music venue has been forced to scrap its events schedule after it was found to be non-compliant. The owners of Simple Cider took to Facebook to notify patrons after finding they did not have all the permissions needed. They're now in financial peril with a major income source scrapped. A Hobart City Council spokesperson says it has been working with the business for 2 months and issued a temporary permit to allow increased capacity. A Tasmanian father is taking community safety into his own hands, urgently calling for a dangerous walkway to be cleaned up. His fight unearthing a row between council and Tasrail over who's responsible for the upkeep of the land.
Firing up a fence fight. This Rochely father is demanding action after his 3-year-old daughter's eye was injured by a piece of stray wire.
Yeah, it was the scariest thing for her at the time. She didn't really want to walk down this track again since it's happened.
After his daughter's accident, he put the urgent call out for the fence to be fixed. What he uncovered was a responsibility rift, with Tasrail and the Launceston City Council claiming the other is in charge of the land.
Got nowhere with the council, got nowhere with Tasrail who owned it, who's going to fix it.
The council did step in, erecting a short-term fix, but the concerned father wasn't going to back down.
You know, I've tried and one stage I was going to give up, but I thought there's no point giving up when I can keep fighting this.
Worried for the safety of his own children and countless others who use the path every day.
If something doesn't get done ASAP, something bad's going to happen. And that's what I'm worried. It could be my kid, it could be someone else's kid. It's a bad hazard.
After weeks of campaigning by Kane, the Launceston City Council is now moving to a more permanent solution, saying it's discussed the issue with Tasrail and the fence will be replaced next month. Victoria Risto, 7 Tasmania News.
A bicentenary of sorts is being celebrated today. Tasmanian twins Audrey Gardam and Doreen Collins turning 100, and reporter Nick Kelly went along to their joint birthday bash for some pearls of wisdom.
Double trouble, a century in the making.
When one wishes the other a happy birthday, we could say the same to you.
Identical twins Doreen and Audrey were born on a dairy farm at Ridgeley, south of Burnie on December 14, 1923, and things have certainly changed since then.
It was just wonderful when we got electricity, because we were used to candles and lamps, yes. And when Mum first used her electric iron, we went away across the farm because we were scared. We didn't know what was going to happen.
Inseparable growing up, sharing more than just clothes.
We met some boys one particular weekend, and my boyfriend was away at the war, and I didn't particularly want another boyfriend, so I told Doreen she could have him. And so they went together for a while. He was none the wiser.
Even working together at Poultryman's in Burnie, often to the customer's confusion.
They'd come into the counter inside the door where Doreen was working, and then they'd come up to where I was working, and they'd think, oh, that girl got up there quickly.
Between them, they have 5 children, 12 grandkids, 15 great-grandkids and 3 great-great-grandkids. Doreen lives up in Burnie, Audrey down in Kingston, but they're still the best of friends.
They haven't seen each other for 2 years. They're on the phone constantly. They think alike, they talk alike, and that'll never change.
They must have a secret to a long, happy life.
We've never smoked, and we're social drinkers, and we have faith.
Nick Kelly, 7 Tasmania News.
As the Christmas countdown begins, Tasmanians are snapping up major seafood orders ahead of the big day. Lobsters are a must on this year's menu, as thousands stock up even before the Christmas Eve craze.
Crazy for craze.
Lobster.
20 days at sea off Stanley, now paying off for the bold contender and its captain, Squizzy.
We sold out of all our jumbos yesterday. We sold 600 lobsters or 600 crays yesterday.
The floating business boasting the cheapest lobsters in Australia, prices starting from $65 a kilogram. This morning's Margate queue started at 7 a.m, everyone keen to sample the delicacy.
Mainly the taste.
A relief after the past 3 years, which have been anything but smooth sailing.
Pricing, export markets and COVID, it took a toll in the industry on all sectors, and yeah, it's just great to keep giving back to the community what kept us going for the last 3 years.
Kaima Seafoods in Kings Meadows experiencing similar demand. The wholesaler has already reached capacity for Christmas Eve orders.
Prawns, oysters and crayfish really popular.
Despite a drop in wholesales this year due to the cost of living pressures, the retail market remains strong. Crays also a top contender.
We're not having any trouble getting supply, as in from crayfish, from the pot fishermen. Yeah, we're not having any trouble getting supply. We're just having trouble getting them cooked on time.
Local traders pushing for Tasmanians to buy local while they can.
You've got to love Tassie seafood. You don't get it any better than this. Enjoy that. Merry Christmas.
Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News.
St Vincent de Paul is pushing for last-minute donations so its $250,000 summer goal can be reached. Students from Sacred Heart College, among many community groups helping with festive goodwill, the cohort helping pack bountiful hampers full of toys, food and essentials for the Christmas appeal.
We have lots of things that range between dolls and Nerf guns.
We're still a couple of weeks ahead and we've seen a pickup in the donations over recent times, but we're doing it really tough.
Donations can be still dropped off at Vinnies stores. After each notching up 25 years of service, 2 volunteers have been honoured by the City of Hobart. Sajini Sumar and David Cawthorne have dedicated their lives to inclusion groups.
I love it. This is my life. I'm dedicated to help the community in my rest of my life.
I didn't even realise it'd been that long that I'd been on the committee. I got roped in by someone, a former member of the committee who was there, and he just said, come along.
The pair was recognised at the Council's recent Volunteer Recognition Awards night.
After taking 5 wickets in the Tigers' last meeting with the Scorpions, it was a half-century from Molly Strano today. That effort combined with a 57 from Amy Smith, leading the Tigers to another WNCL victory. South Australia weren't making it easy this time, but in the end it was a wide, handing Tassie the final run for outright victory, ending a nervous final few overs.
Even out in the middle, but I guess that's just cricket, you know, you've got to ride those waves, so and thankfully we came out the other end.
Amy flies out tomorrow for the Under-19 National Championships. Reality is sinking in for Tasmania's AFLW prospects with the national draft fast approaching. Glenorchy Football Club pumping out several star players, each one in talks with around 10 teams.
When I was playing younger, I knew this was the pathway. I was so excited that there was an end result, and to be picked up would be absolutely amazing.
All the hard work kind of sums up to this moment, and yeah, just very exciting, a dream come true really.
Selections will be locked in on Monday night for the season, which starts late next year. Law Rain might be the first local greyhound to win the Hobart 1000 since 2018, and it's in good hands with Debbie Cannon, who trained the winning hound 5 years ago. There are 3 Tassie hopes in the $100,000 race at Elwick tonight, including Rojo Diamond, which is bounding towards the course's win record, and Ducati Roy. The Jack Jumpers have left the state, flying to Perth where they'll match up against the Wildcats tomorrow night. Key player Milton Doyle is back with the team following his father's funeral in the United States.
Feels like we're finally back at being all together, especially in anything, just traveling and being together, having him back on the court. It just makes us feel a bit more complete.
He's a superstar. We love what he brings to our team on and off the court, and he'll slot back in beautifully.
It will be a quick turnaround for the side, returning to Tasmania in time for Sunday's game against the Sydney Kings. And finally, it's only been a couple of months since we brought you the story of Hobart teen Campbell Logan's success in the 86 Racing Series. Well, his dream of joining a Super 2 team has been realised. Picked up by Walkinshaw and Andretti United to drive Car 2 for them next year.
Good evening. Well, it was a wild night and early morning for some, but things calmed down a bit today. Hobart and Launceston 22, Devonport 21 and Burnie 20. The high was 25 at Friendly Beaches as we recovered from that quick weather event overnight. St Helens recorded 24, Grove 22, Flinders Island and Ouse 21 degrees, Lowhead 19, Lyawini and Strawn 15. Best rainfall to 9 a.m. was the 65 millimetres at Cradle Coast. Sprent had 63 and Railton 62 millimetres. Mount Reid, the best since 9 this morning with 21. Bands of of low cloud there in mountain waves over us today. The southeast of Australia with plenty of cloud, and inland New South Wales and Queensland as well. The remnants of Jasper over North Queensland. Tomorrow we see a broad ridge of high pressure over the south of the nation, allowing a light westerly stream to flow over Tasmania. A large area of low pressure over the north. Winds at first west to southwesterly to 30 knots. They'll tend west-norwesterly at similar speeds in the afternoon. Swells at 3 metres in southern waters. A strong wind warning is on from Wineglass Bay to Tasman Island and also from Southeast Cape to Sandy Cape. Forecast for tomorrow, a possible shower for Hobart 19, 20 for Huonville and Campania. Launceston, a high of 22 and partly cloudy, 19 for Devonport, 20 for Georgetown, bit of cloud, no rain. Burnie, partly cloudy and 18, 17 for Strawn, a shower there. Wynyard, partly cloudy, a top of 20. 21 for St Helens, maybe a shower. Swansea, 18. 21 for Port Arthur, with a shower there in the southeast. On Saturday, showers pushing across the state from the west. Not much likely over the east, though. Fine and partly cloudy on Sunday, still a shower in the west. And on Monday, showers back again for most, less likely over the northeast. A sunny Friday in Perth and 32. Partly cloudy in Adelaide and Melbourne. Fine and warm in Canberra and Sydney. Showers and possible storms, Brisbane, Cairns and Darwin. Bit of cloud and a bit of sun. It's 18 in Hobart, 19 in Launceston, 18 in Devonport. Kim, that'll do me. For a little while, actually.
On holidays again, of course. Well, that is all your news for now. I'll be back later with updates. Thanks for joining us. Good night, everyone.